Hi guys, and welcome to Fireside Chat with the Johnstons. I'm Danielle, and I'm your host for today's podcast.
All right, let's go!
Fireside Chat is produced by Next Generation Gym Owners. Next Gen is here to help you grow the business of your dreams. Right now, we're about to be in tryout season and all of our end of season events, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't even have to invent the wheel. We have done it for you. We have been running our gyms for, I think the longest, maybe, Shelly, is at 16 years.
It's been 84 years.
I've ran my gym for 13 years. We have got so many systems and such great experience. We are here to help gym owners like you to develop great programs, become profitable, and earn some freedom. And that's what I am going to talk about today. Guys, if you don't know me, I own Twister Sports in Warrensburg, Missouri. My gym does all-star cheerleading, all-star dance, recreational cheer and dance, rec gymnastics, ninja, birthday parties. We have batting cages. We have a licensed childcare program for before and after school care and summer camp. We do all the things, and we're in this super small town in the middle of Missouri. However, our all-star program has grown substantially in the last couple of years. So I kind of call the all-star program between my hip hop and my cheer. We've got about 155 athletes in those programs between novice, prep, half year, our elite teams, and then our various hip hop teams. It's a busy time of the year for me, just like I'm sure it is so busy for you. A couple of things that are a little bit different at my gym. So I don't just have one packet I have to put out every year. I have 3 packets. We have our cheer packet that goes over all the information from rec cheer to half year novice, full year novice, prep, and elite. I also have a hip hop packet that goes through the various age groups and kind of what you have to do to be ready to audition for one of those hip hop teams. I also offer competitive tumbling at my gym, and so I have a packet for competitive tumbling. So every year I find myself kind of the end of January getting super crazy. Like I've got the budgets for all 3 programs that I'm working on. I've got the packets for the various programs. You know, we review our email autoresponders every year. So if you opt in to view a packet and maybe you don't register, you're going to get a sequence of emails that talks about, you know, the various selling points on the program and just nurtures the person who might be interested in the program along the way. Well, all of you probably understand what I'm talking about. Like, a packet is a lot of work getting that all put together between the budget and the packet every year. Well, multiply that by 3, and that's what I was working on in February. In addition, of course, we have 7 teams this year going to All-Star Worlds. We are super crazy. We don't do as many competitions as a lot of you guys probably do, but we do 5 regular season competitions plus an end of season event. This year, my half-year team had to go to a different competition because we needed to work within a different age grid just a little bit on that half-year team. So it added an additional event to the schedule. On top of that, my mini team, they are all super little. They were all in prep last year. And so we started with one additional competition earlier in the season just to get them on the floor sooner. So basically, we're at 7 competitions. And some of you guys might be thinking, oh my gosh, we do 7 every year. Well, add on to that we have hip hop teams and that we do competitive tumbling that does 5 events a year. So it gets to be super crazy. And there's no doubt February for me is just as busy as like October, November. And I would almost even venture to say busier. We host clinics for the high school kids who are trying out for the high school teams. There's always a lot of stuff our booster club is doing with fundraising this time of year, because on top of the end of season events, they're getting the packets and they're getting all the information about new uniforms and stuff like that. And then let's add uniforms to the mix. It's a new uniform year for us next year. And so that just kind of adds one more layer of I would call it chaos, but I felt pretty organized this year. But one more layer of just busyness to this time of the year.
I can't catch a break.
So January felt busy. February felt super busy trying to get all that stuff out. And About a year ago, I kind of know this routine because I've done it for 13 years now. About a year ago, I was like, we're going to go on a spring break trip. We did it last year, and I just booked another one right over my daughter's spring break for school. And I just said, I know that it gets super busy this time of year, but like we have to do it. Spring break for us becomes a really, really good reset as a family. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about how I got away, not only as an owner of the gym, but also as a coach, because I coached 3 teams this season. How did I get away and everything went smooth while I was gone, but I'm also coming back not feeling like stressed and chaotic and like overly busy and all this stuff, right? I'm coming back and I actually feel relaxed. It feels good.
But how?
I'm going to go through that with you guys today so that maybe next year, in the middle of the most chaotic part of your season, you can get away and take a vacation or take a break. Okay, so I'm going to start off by telling you, not only was it super crazy, but I found myself in January and February mentally feeling the drain. I was literally thinking about cheerleading so much that I was dreaming about it at night. Seriously, I was coaching during the evenings, like working on the business during the day, coaching in the evenings, and helping other people with their businesses, which is what we do at Next Gen. And then I was going to bed and I would literally dream about things in cheer. Coincidentally, I had one dream that kind of solved a stunt dilemma for me. So like that was kind of cool. You know, that was the rare occasion. Most of the time it was literally just me dreaming about things like working with stunts and synchronizing tumbling and all the things. And I felt like this is crazy. If this is what I'm dreaming about, like I need a break. On top of that, I found that it was consuming so much of my conversations with people. So, you know, I like to be able to walk in the office at the gym and chat about a lot of different things. But because I have been doing the duties of the All-Star director this year, I just feel like I was having a hard time having conversations about other parts of the gym sometimes. Like cheer had just consumed me. And I don't think that's bad for short periods of time, but I do think it can really drain you over time. And for a lot of gym owners who don't take that time to then get away from it and step away for a little bit, it can make you kind of resentful. It was important to me as soon as I realized like I am thinking about this 24/7, it was really important to me to take that time away. It's also kind of necessary, I think, for your family and just for your brain. Like it's healthy to have other things. Even on this vacation, you know, I was out in the ocean and Justin and I were just kind of swimming and talking. And I said, it's almost weird because my initial reversion goes to talking about cheerleading right now. And that's not who I want to be. I want to be somebody who can talk about a whole bunch of different things, and I think about different things and have this like well-rounded personality. And so that means I can't consume 24/7, 365 with cheerleading. My youngest daughter is on our U17 level 3 team. She's also on our hip hop team. She also coaches a team with me. She was on her high school varsity team this year. She also did do tennis and soccer, but I really don't know a lot about those. So it's a little bit harder for me to, like, I didn't even understand tennis. They were just hitting the ball back and forth and they would say love every so often. And I'm like, I have no idea what they're doing, but good job. You win. She really didn't win, but yeah, I feel like I know a little bit more about soccer. And today, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am sporting the Warrensburg soccer hoodie because I am a soccer mom officially now. However, because I just don't know a lot about those other sports, I found myself consuming a lot of my conversations with my daughter even about cheerleading. And while I think that's fun for her, I know that that is not all she cares about in life. And she's a pretty well-rounded kid where she likes horses and she loves cars. She loves fast cars, which scares me a little bit because she gets her permit in a few weeks. You know, she like has these other interests, and the last thing I want to do is make all of our conversation about cheerleading. I have 3 older children who are grown up, graduated, moved out, and especially my other daughter who is 18 now and she's in the Air Force. I noticed that I'm glad we had other things to talk about over time, though so much of her life was consumed with us talking about cheerleading. So like they graduate one day and what are you going to talk to them about? Right? So anyway, for all those reasons, it was super important to me. On a Wednesday, Justin and I and Addie, our daughter, and her friend, Katie, hopped on a 9-day cruise. Actually, we left and went to Puerto Rico for a couple days first because we love Puerto Rico. And I've heard there's an all-star gym down there. I would love to retire and come work there one day. So if you get my resume, that's why. Anyway, so we hopped on a 9-day cruise, visited a whole bunch of islands, Antigua, Barbados, St. Thomas, St. Lucia. That was actually my favorite this time. And I've been there before and it had not been my favorite in the past. So that was pretty cool. And then there was one more, one of the Saints. I can't remember at the moment. Anyway, it was awesome. Like, we did lots of fun things. We did scuba diving and we went on a sailboat. I was a little seasick on that one. We did snorkeling and catamaran and just like all these really super fun things as a family. And then, of course, with bonus child Katie, my daughter's bestie, who was with us. So it was really good because it allowed us to realign ourselves with the things that were most important, which for us is family. If you're wondering why we took my daughter's best friend, she does cheer at the gym. She's cheered for about 5 years. And does hip hop as well, but they've been best friends for about 5 years. And when you're the youngest of 4 and your other 3 siblings have like grown up and moved out, it's not super fun to go on vacation with like your parents. And so we thought it would be fun for her to bring a friend. And I'm glad she did because they did the teen club and I don't know, they made lots of friends. So it was good for us to just get away and be able to have that reminder that like, cheer is not my whole life. It is a part of my life and it's a very important part of my life, but it's not my entire life. And I think that's important for us as owners and coaches to see that and remember that and like personally experience that once in a while, because we have to remember that for our gym families as well. Like, we didn't close the gym for a week. We still offered tumbling. I have some athletes who really want to make a higher level next year, or maybe they weren't in tumbling this year, but they really want to be next year. And they used their spring break to do our skills camps and private lessons and stuff like that. So that was awesome too. But I had some others who went and took vacations because it was important for everybody to just sort of realign ourselves at least at one point in the year with, you know, what do we love outside of cheerleading, and let's like do more of that sometimes too, right? So it was good. I spent a lot of quality time with my family, and I feel like that's something you'll never regret. Like, you might one day regret working, 60-hour work weeks when your kids were little. You might one day regret investing into athletes that move on and go to other gyms and hurt you and stuff like that. You probably won't regret that after a while. You'll regret it because you'll feel hurt, but you'll get over that. And then you'll be glad you invested in those kids. That was a rabbit trail. And that's what happens when Justin's not on here with me. However, I think it's important to do those things that you won't regret. Also, I kind of realigned with a few things that are important to me, like working out. I'm pretty consistent about it, but I had the flu a few weeks before we went on vacation, and it just was really hard to like get back into it. I kind of think I had COVID too. It was kind of hard to get back into it. I just felt like I had a hard time breathing. My muscles were sore. I was still fatigued. And so going on that cruise where I felt so much better, and I just think I'm made to live in the Caribbean because I breathe better. I have more energy. I'm just made to live there. And so it was more fun, right? To go work out and spend 30 minutes a day working out on a cruise ship where I can like see the ocean in front of me and stuff like that. So it was good because it really helped realign me with those things as well. I think it's so necessary to get away for those reasons. So you're probably asking, okay, if you coach these teams, what did you do? Just cancel practices all week? No, I didn't. So we do not have mandatory practices over spring break. That said, we go by the spring break for our local school system. And we actually have about 13 schools that are represented throughout our cheer and hip hop program. And so even though, it was spring break for some, it was not spring break for everybody. I had on one of my teams quite a few who were going to be missing practice outside of spring, our typical spring break at the gym. And so we readjusted. I was super proactive. I asked them back in February, like, what dates are you guys going to be gone over your spring break and stuff like that, so that I could adjust the lesson plan accordingly. So I had one that we only did tumbling during that practice because the tumbling coach could do it. They didn't need, a cheer coach or somebody with super high stunt knowledge to come in and take care of that. I had another one that we just moved the practice a little bit. And then I wrote the lesson plans in advance and I planned ahead. So Melanie, who a lot of you guys know, she's our gym manager and one of the owners of the gym now. She also does coaching and she's really good with the little kids. And so like on my mini team, her specialty is dance. She coaches our hip hop teams. She is wonderful at cleaning dance and just helping kids understand how to make their body move in a certain way. And that is not my strong point. In the 2 practices leading up to the time I was going to be on vacation, I focused a lot on my strengths. I focused a lot on the stunting, on the jumps, on formations, and just general, details and being clean, knowing that Melanie was going to then focus on dance. And I wrote those lesson plans for each practice that I was going to be gone, so the coaches knew this is exactly what needs to be done during that practice. So Mel coached a couple of them. We did have a couple other coaches step in and help during that time as well. Our families knew. They were actually excited because it's all about how you present it to them. Right? Hey, while I'm gone, Coach Melanie is going to come in. She is going to focus on dance. Guys, we've got room to improve our dance score. Where you maybe were getting a 9.4, we want to go above a 9.5. And that means we've got to focus on formations and footwork and sharp motions. And Coach Melanie is the best at that. And so it's how you are preparing and how you're presenting it to your families. So I didn't hear any, backlash about the fact that I wouldn't be there for the practice. We do co-coach, so it's a little bit easier when your co-coach is going to be there anyway. So for my U17 team, the other coach was already there. For my mini team I coach, my daughter coaches it with me. And so obviously she was with me, and that does pose that additional challenge. It requires me to have updated 8 count sheets. Other coaches filling in for me need to be able to have the music. At this point in the season, honestly, in March, even minis, they know their routine, and you've got your couple key people that if somebody is doing something on the wrong count, you can look over and say, okay, Danny, what count is this on? And I know that Danny knows those counts. And so then she can help the others who maybe don't know them as well or can't recall what that count was. So honestly, it comes down to I prepared in advance to be gone. I prepared our families for it. I prepared my athletes for it. And we focused on the things that are my weaknesses and another coach's strengths while I was gone. So after the vacation turned out to be 11 days of being gone, I checked my email a couple times in there. I honestly didn't do a lot of replies. I set out an out of office reply in advance so that people would not expect a reply. I replied to a couple of things that I saw come through that were more timely. Our uniforms are in the final stages being designed. So I was getting the pictures of them from the uniform company, and I wanted to approve those so that we could get them sent to us, the mock-up sent to us as quickly as possible. So I was keeping an eye out on my email for that. We have our All-Star Worlds design came through, and I had a couple edits to the t-shirts for our end of season event. And so there were a couple little things that I was kind of doing, but for the most part, guys, I was just scrolling on Facebook, reading a book, looking out at the ocean, enjoying the belly flop contest. I tried to get Justin to participate in the World's Sexiest Man contest. He didn't, but I think he would have won. So next time. But how do I feel returning? I feel honestly refreshed. I feel energized. And I don't always feel that way coming back from a vacation. I think sometimes I go for 5 days and I come back feeling more stressed because I think, oh, it's just 5 days. I don't have to prepare as much for it. But this one, it was 11 days. I really had to kind of prepare in advance. And by doing that, I just felt like I was actually able to relax and not focus on what was happening at the gym or with Next Gen while I was gone. I feel excited to coach. I coach my prep team tonight. It's a junior 1 prep team. And I feel like, man, I haven't seen them in a couple of weeks. And I know a couple kids had birthdays while I was gone. And I just feel excited for it. I feel excited for our next competition. Whereas before that, I was like, oh, cool, we have a competition coming up. We just did a competition. Like, you know what I mean? It's nice to have that excitement again. One thing I did was we got stuck in the airport. So for me, typically on the way home from wherever our vacation is, I find airport time to be pretty dull. Like, I don't sit around, watch a lot of movies. I don't scroll. It just kind of gets boring to me. And so on the way back from a trip, I typically kind of turn off my vacation, once we get on the airplane or to the airport. And so we had a lovely 7-hour delay yesterday. But honestly, I used the entire time to get caught up on stuff. I went through emails and just made sure that I was coming in Monday morning and like my email box was clear. I had a to-do list. I knew what I needed to get done for today, and it felt good. Like, I felt like I could have a productive Monday, which is sometimes hard after you've had a vacation where you're out for a couple of weeks. I was able to meet with a couple people that between the gym and Next Gen so that I could feel like, okay, I know you were working on this while I was gone. Get me spun back up. Where are we? I'm coming back knowing my teams are in good shape. Don't ever worry about your athletes like taking a week off and not having whatever skill, that they had just gotten before that. Like, realistically, you guys, this time off is good for their bodies. It's good for their brains. It's good for their emotions. Like, don't stress about that. My daughter's friend who was with us has been just working so hard on her tuck. And she kind of made the comment at one point that like, oh, I'm just really worried that I'm going to like lose progress because I'm gone for 11 days. And like, I just assured her, hey, when kids were out for 30 days, 40 days, 60 days for COVID, like a lot of them came back and were so much stronger than they were when they left physically because, they were still active, they were still doing things, and it was good for their bodies and brains to take a little bit of a rest. So don't stress when your athletes take that vacation. I'm feeling excited coming back for the new season, for the end of season events. I feel like I have a clear head that I can just prioritize what I need to be working on and what's important right now. Coincidentally, in the course of not talking about cheerleading a lot, I found Addie and her bestie. Her name is Katie, so that I don't have to say it a whole bunch of times that way. But I found Addie and Katie would kind of be chatting about something with cheer or hip hop, and they were kind of giving me feedback that I would not have thought to ask for before. The week before I left, Melanie went on a cruise, and so we like cruise around here. You live in the middle of the country, in the middle of Missouri, and you like to get out to the ocean. So Melanie had been on a cruise, and one of our kind of up and coming hip hop coaches, Gabby, had filled in on that junior hip hop team. This is a team that's pretty good. They've got a paid bid to the All-Star World Championship, and a lot of kids been dancing for a long time. So I wasn't totally sure how that was going to go, how they would respond to a brand new coach, but it was really good to get feedback. Katie's been dancing, I think 4 years. Addie has been dancing for 12 years. And so it was really good to get feedback from them on how was Gabby? Did she, did you guys respond to her really well? Like, what was she doing? Did she clean up certain areas of the dance? Just in the course of not talking about cheer, I guess we talked about hip hop, but no, I'm just teasing. But like, it was fun. And then I also got to hear them say at one point, yeah, I wish we did more competitions, which, like, for those who might be parents in my gym listening to this, no, I'm not changing it because 2 teenagers said that. I'm not changing next year's schedule, but it was really good because you know what that told me? They're not burned out on cheer. They're loving cheer. And if you wish you had more competitions on the schedule, I always want you wanting more. I never want you to feel burned out. So I guess that's one more tip, guys. If you're thinking about putting 8 to 10 competitions on your schedule next year, what do you prefer? Do you want the kids to want more at the end of the season? Or do you want them to feel like they need a big break? This one sounds silly, but I got to scroll. Like, I didn't do a lot of my email. Like, I didn't do a ton of replies on emails. Like, I was kind of looking for certain emails, but I didn't do a lot of work per se. However, I was scrolling. Like, it was nice to just sit there and see what's happening in people's lives because on a regular basis, I just don't get the chance to scroll. Like, when I'm working, I'm getting notifications on our, team chats and in the Next Gen groups and stuff like that. And so it was just really nice to sit back and like read and just kind of be a bystander in a lot of that stuff. So I'm coming back, and now I feel like because I have this new energy, my brain needs the challenge. It needs discipline because it hasn't had it for 11 days. Outside of our excursions, I could kind of wake up whenever I want and go to bed whenever I want. And, you know, if you've been on a cruise, like you can eat pizza whenever you want and go get an ice cream and lots of, you know, pina coladas and stuff like that whenever you want. And so it was nice to be able to let loose like that. But now I feel like it's nice to have like a challenge on my brain and feel like it's time for some discipline for myself. So I know it's not easy to get away mid-season, you guys, and it doesn't have to be, you know, the Caribbean. It doesn't have to be anywhere tropical. Don't be home. Don't do laundry. Don't like go grocery shopping, but like go somewhere. Go do something and just get away and turn stuff off. We use Slack for a lot of communication, and on the first day, it was, you know, everybody else is working and as they should be. Back home, they're like, you know, keeping the ball rolling while we're gone. Work doesn't stop. There were a lot of notifications coming through. It was actually for Next Gen owns Cheer Gym Marketing, our website company, and a lot of notifications coming through on Slack for that. They didn't need me though. Like I just turned off my notifications. And if I'm being totally honest, it was probably day 7 before I even remembered, oh my gosh, I've had these notifications off. I wonder what people are talking about. And like, I did go in and I looked at it and I kept notifications off for the rest of the trip. So it was really good. And I highly encourage you guys, maybe you can't do it at the beginning of the season, or not the beginning, but the craziest parts of the season. But I encourage you to find a time of the year that you can do it. Quite frankly, the only way to do it is if you have really good systems in place. You have a good culture in your gym. You've got great staff members, people who are working together as a team, and they're not, you know, jealous of your vacations. They want you to vacation because they know you come back happier, right? And lastly, it's really hard to take those vacations if you're not paying yourself. So as an owner, you got to be in a good position in your business where you're paying yourself. And if you have just been like scraping along for months or years, we know gym owners who have not paid themselves in 20 years. If you have not paid yourself, then get some help, because you should be able to live the life that you want to live and that you will enjoy and that you'll look back on and have all these great memories. You don't want to live the life that you are constantly struggling, because it doesn't have to be that way. And you don't have to price gouge your families to get there. So guys, if those are things that you would like some help from Next Gen, we would love to help you guys. Head over to nextgenowners.com/book, and we can get you booked on a call with a member of our sales team who can help learn a little bit about your gym and see if we have a program that might be a good fit for you. Don't feel like, well, I'm trying to save up for vacation. Why would I spend money on XYZ? Because realistically, sometimes you have to invest. If you recognize that you have a problem, you can't get away from your gym for 11 days. You wouldn't have the extra money to go on a vacation. You wouldn't have the coaches to cover your teams or cover classes while you're gone. If you realize that that's a problem, don't do it yourself. Guys, we have helped hundreds of gym owners get there over the years, and we can help you too. So that is how I got away mid-season as a coach. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I look forward to every episode that I get to chat with you guys on Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.